Hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Raj Academy. The main aim of this playlist is to discuss about the TSPSC General Studies solutions in a very little manner. If you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever we upload a new video, the direct notifications comes to your mobile. If any improvements needed in our video lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. So why do we waste more time? So let's get started. So now we are going to solve the 31st question. See the question here. Which one of the following is a pure water? Option A, well water. Option B, river water. Option C, rain water. Option D, sea water. So out of the four options, option C, rain water is said to be the very purest water. So let's discuss something more facts about this one. So on the land there will be water. So suppose let me assume this is the land. So on this land there is water. So basically the water on the land consists of the salts and a lot of impurities. So the water which is present on the land has a lots of salts and the very impurities. So due to evaporation process, the water vapor is going to stored in the cloud. So due to the evaporation process, the water is going to convert into the vapor and now it is going to store in the cloud. So therefore here, whenever there is a nice air, so whenever there is a cool air, this water vapor which is present in the cloud is going to condense and then we are going to get the rainfall. So basically, but in the atmosphere, there is a lot of sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxide. So because of these things, the fresh water is going to, whenever there is a cool air, this water vapor is going to condense and then we are going to get the rainfall. So this fresh water is going to react with the sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxide. We are going to get the acid rain. So because of this reason only, the first 2 or 3 rains are very harmful to a person, because the first 2 or 3 rains consists of the fresh water vapor is going to react with these things and we are going to get the acid rain. So that is the reason never enjoy in the first 2 or 3 rains. After the 2 or 3 rains, whatever the water we are going to get is a very, very pure water, or it is also called as a fresh water. So here, whenever the pure water, due to chemicals in atmosphere, it becomes impure, so it leads to acid rain. That is what I have told you. So whenever this pure water is reacting with these things, we are going to get the acid rain. So that is very, very dangerous. So that is the reason never go outside during the first 3 rains. So after that, the water which we get is a very, very pure in water. So after 3 rains, the rainwater which we get is a very, very fresh water. So finally what I am trying to say is, after 2 or 3 rains, the water which we got from the atmosphere is a very, very pure water, or it is also called as a fresh water. So now we will discuss the 32nd question. See the question here. What is the chemical name of the baking soda? So what is the chemical name of the baking soda? Option A, sodium chloride. Option B, sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sodium hydroxide. Option D, sodium benzoate. I am repeating the options again. Option A, sodium chloride. Option B, sodium hydrogen carbonate. Option C, sodium hydroxide. Option D, sodium benzoate. So out of the 4 options, option B, sodium hydrogen carbonate, is the chemical name of the baking soda. So let's discuss something more facts about this one. So now we'll discuss some of the important facts of the baking soda. So baking soda is also called as a sodium carbonate. So baking soda is also called as the sodium carbonate. In Telugu we say baking soda as a vanta soda. So here the baking soda, another name is sodium carbonate. So, but the IUPAC name of the baking soda is the sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is the IUPAC name of the baking soda. So this is the option which is present in the question. So what is the chemical name of the baking soda? Chemical name is nothing but the IUPAC name. So therefore, the IUPAC name of the baking soda, or the chemical name of the baking soda, is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So the meaning of the IUPAC, the full form of the IUPAC is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. IUPAC full form is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, is the full form of the IUPAC. So here, so now this sodium carbonate or the baking soda was invented by the Alfred Bird. Alfred Bird is the person who invented the baking soda in the 1840. He was basically an English chemist. So Alfred Bird is the person who invented this baking soda in the 1840 and is basically an English chemist. So now we will discuss some of the important facts here. See, whenever the cake, if you are not adding any of the baking soda, suppose if you are making a cake and if you are not adding any amount of the baking soda, then it takes long times to make it. So if you are not adding any baking soda to a cake, now in order to make the cake, it takes a very large amount of time, and also you cannot preserve this cake for a huge amount of duration. So very huge problem in the previous days. But after the 1840, after the invention of this baking soda, now the cake with baking soda in a very short time we can make, and also we can preserve for the huge amount of duration when compared to the previous one. So that is the reason when we are adding the baking soda to a cake, we can make the cake at any time of at any instant of time, whatever the time we want, we are going to make it. And also we are going to store that cake for a large amount of time. So the baking soda has become a revolution after the 1840 because it changed everyone's life also. So here the baking soda is going to always keep the food in a very fresh manner, and we are going to preserve that food for a large amount of duration. So here the baking soda is a white color, it's a white solid in color, and it is basically crystalline solid state. So it's a very crystalline solid state. It's a white salt or it is a crystalline solid state. So it is already, suppose if you keep that baking soda in the water, then it is going to be soluble. So therefore it is going to soluble in water. See, the water IUPAC name is the IUPAC name, or the chemical name of the H2O means water is called as the oxidane. So oxidane is the chemical name or the IUPAC name of the water. So this baking soda is a no odorless, means we are not going to get any smell. So there is no odorless. And also it is a eye irritation. So if you touch, after touching the baking soda, if you touch with your eyes, then we are going to get the eye irritation problems are going to occur because of the baking soda. And it is a basic ingredient in every house shelf. So in every house shelf, we are going to have a baking soda. So baking soda is a very ingredient for every house person. In every house shelf there is a baking soda. So it is used in the baking soda is also used in the toothpaste. It is also used in the toothpaste, detergent, and also deodorant and the fire extinguisher. So these are the things the baking soda is used. The baking soda is used in the toothpaste, detergent, deodorant, and the fire extinguisher. So all in this place also the baking soda is a very used. And I have also told you the IUPAC. IUPAC full form is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So these are the important facts of the baking soda. So baking soda, it made a revolution of the 1840. So before the baking soda, we have to make, in order to make anything, we require a huge amount of time, and also the food is not going to preserve for a huge amount of duration. But after the baking soda invention, and now we can make the food or anything in a very short duration, and also we are going to preserve for the large amount of duration. So that is the basic difference before and the after of the baking soda. Now we are going to solve 33rd question. See the question here. Which powder is used in flash bulbs? So what is the powder which is used in the flash bulbs? Option A sulfur, option B magnesium, option C phosphorus, and option D potassium. So what are the four options? Option B magnesium is the powder which is used in the bulbs or the flash bulbs. So we'll discuss something more facts about the magnesium. Here in the 1880 to 1920, these flash bulbs are used. So this in 1880 to 1920, these flash bulbs which are consists of magnesium powder are used in a very regular manner. But if you see in the older movies, see, whenever they are going to take the photograph, see, whenever they want to make an artificial line, there will be a lot of sound with a lot of smoke also. So that is nothing but that photographs is nothing but they are going to use the magnesium powder or the flash bulbs in order to produce the artificial light. So when it burns, we are going to get a very bright white color. So therefore, whenever the magnesium powder is going to burn, when we are going to get the very bright white light. So with the help of these things, now the people can take the photographs at that particular time of instant. So they are going to synchronize their camera. So they are going to synchronize their camera and the light. So whenever the light is going to burn this magnesium powder, we are going to get the light. So this is a closed lamp. So on this lamp, whenever they are going to burn this lamp, because there is a magnesium powder. As the magnesium powder is going to burn, we are going to get the bright light. Then automatically at that instant of time, the camera is going to click the photo. So this is the process. We are going to produce the artificial light in order to take a photograph, and this is used only in the 1880 to 1920 duration. Here also there will be a magnesium powder will be present in this lamp. This is called as the flash bulb. In 1808, magnesium was discovered by Davy chemist. So magnesium was discovered by the Davy. He is basically a chemist in the year 1808. So the magnesium is a very light in color. It's lightweight and it's a silvery metal. So magnesium is nothing but it's a very light in weight and it is a silvery metal. The magnesium is consumed by the humans and also the plants. The magnesium is consumed by the humans and also the plants. The plants, see, if you see, the plants are green because the plants are green because of the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is made because of the magnesium. So the magnesium is very important for the plants to be green in color. The magnesium is used by plants and also in the human diets. So this is the important facts of the magnesium. So magnesium powder, when we burn, we are going to get a very bright white light, and it is used only in the 1880 to 1920. And if you see the older movies, whenever they are going to take a photos, the lamp is going to burn. So therefore we are going to get a very bright lamp with a lot of sound, bang. That is called as a magnesium powder. So magnesium powder is used in the flash bulbs. So now we are going to solve the 34th question. See the question here. Which of the following is known as the laughing gas? Which of the following is known as the laughing gas? Option A, sulfur dioxide. Option B, nitrous oxide. Option C, helium. Option D, carbon monoxide. So out of the four options, option B, nitrous oxide, is said to be a laughing gas. So now we'll discuss something more about the laughing gas. So now we are going to discuss some of the facts of the nitrous oxide. So nitrous oxide is also called as a laughing gas. Now we'll discuss why it is called laughing gas also. And the nitrous oxide means N2O. It is basically a very colorless and also an odorless. So there is no color and there is no smell for the nitrous oxide. So it is basically a colorless and a odorless. So when you inhale the nitrous oxide, the body responds and the brain is going to function in a very slow manner. So because of that reason only, we are going to get a relax. So our body is going to feel a very relaxed position, and also we are going to feel a very calmness. So very happy movement for us, like that we are going to feel. So we are going to feel in a very relaxed position and also very calmness, and we are going to get even a laughter. So we are going to laugh more and more by inhaling the nitrous oxide. So nitrous oxide is basically a colorless and odorless. So when you inhale the nitrous oxide, the body response will be very delayed, and then you are going to feel in relaxed position, calmness and a laughter. So because of this laughter only, because we are going to get a laugh, that's why it is called as a laughing gas. So because of that reason only, we are going to call it as a laughing gas. So finally the nitrous oxide is also called as a laughing gas. So if you inhale the nitrous oxide in a very huge quantity, then you are going to feel a very severe things. The things which you are going to face after inhaling the large amount of the nitrous oxide is vomiting. So you are going to get the very amount of the vomiting, headache, sweating and shivering. These are the side effects we are going to get if you inhale the large amount of the nitrous oxide. So here this nitrous oxide is a soluble in water, sulfuric acid and ethanol. In these three things, the nitrous oxide is going to be very soluble, and it is also used by the dentist. Suppose if a dentist want to remove any teeth from the patient, then the dentist is going to make that person is to inhale the nitrous oxide at the first moment, and then he is going to remove the teeth. So therefore the person now is going to feel he is not even going to face any pain. So doctor want to remove the patient's teeth. So the first thing the dentist is going to do is he will make that person to inhale the nitrous oxide. So therefore now he is going to feel a very peaceful position. So therefore he is not going to face any problem or pain during the removal of the teeth. So that is the reason the dentist always going to make that person to inhale the nitrous oxide before removing any teeth from his mouth. So these are the important facts of the nitrous oxide. So nitrous oxide is basically called as a laughing gas or N2O. It is basically not a colorless and a odorless. So when you inhale the nitrous oxide in a huge amount of quantity, you are going to get a side effects of the vomiting, headache, shivering and sweating. So because of this nitrous oxide, the brain the functioning of the brain will be very, very slow. So therefore our body response will be also slow. We are going to feel a very amount of the relaxed calmness and also laughter. So because of this laughing only, we are going to call that gas as a laughing gas. So it's basically soluble in water, sulfuric acid and ethanol. It is used by the dentist in order to treat the patients. So this is the last question of this lecture. See the question here. How to the below, what is the cause of dental mottling? So out of the four options, what is the reason for the dental mottling? Option A, fluorosis. Option B, calcification. Option D, zinc loss. Option D, caries. Out of the four options, option A, fluorosis is the main reason for the cause of the dental mottling. So let's discuss something more facts about this fluorosis. So now we'll discuss some of the facts of the fluorosis. See, the fluoride is going to give the teeth a very strong teeth and healthy teeth, and it also protects from the decay of the teeth. So if you consume the fluoride in a very limited manner, it is going to provide the teeth a very strong teeth and also healthy teeth, and also it is going to protect the teeth from the decay, from the bacteria. So if you consume the fluoride in a very large amount of quantity, now the teeth is going to lose its strongness and the teeth is also going to use its healthiness, and it also the teeth is going to decay. So therefore what I am trying to say is, if you consume the fluoride in a very limited manner, then these are the good effects. But if you consume the same fluoride in a huge amount of quantity, then these are the bad effects. Everything will be reversed. So therefore here, during the first 8 years means a child has an age of 8 years. For these 8 years, the child is going to get a permanent teeth. So during this 8 years of process, if he is consumed the huge amount of fluoride, then his teeth will be a mottling teeth. Means the teeth is going to change its color, its also shape, and there will be a lot of yellow color and the white spots are going to produce on the teeth. So during this 8 years, he has to consume the fluoride water in a very less amount of quantity. But if he consume the more amount of fluoride, then he is going to get a mottling teeth. Means the color of the teeth is going to change, and also shape of the structure of the teeth is going to get changed. These are some of the symptoms of the fluoride. Means he is going to get a white spots on the teeth, or the black spots on the teeth, and white streaks on teeth. So if you have a teeth of any of these symptoms, then it's confirmed that the person is going to suffer from this fluorosis. So always it is preferred to drink the defluorinated water. So always it is preferred to drink the defluorinated water, because now the fluorine level in that water is in a threshold limit, within the threshold limit only. So therefore now there will be no side effects with the defluorinated water. But if you consume the fluorinated water, huge amount of fluorinated water during the 8 years of age, there will be a lot of problem. But for the children's, at this age only is going to get the permanent teeth. So that is the reason at this time of age he must not consume the huge amount of the fluorosis water. So this is all about so fluorosis is going to get the mottling teeth. Means the shape, the color, the structure is going to get the change because of the excess amount of consumption of the fluorosis. So these are some of the important facts of the fluorosis. In this lecture we have successfully completed the TSP/SC General Study solutions in a very detailed manner. If you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button so whenever we upload a new video, the direct notifications comes in. While if any improvements in our lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Keep smiling, take care, and bye bye.